Curix, your time to shine.
All right, mixing it up a little bit. Still waiting for you to whisper it in our ears, man. Take it away. Take it away. But anyways, we're going to be jumping over to Eichenwald to start things off. And we look to see another Pharah battle, potentially. And Graceful and Unfixed both have looked pretty phenomenal so far, I'd say, in these types of matchups. So this will be pretty interesting. But this is the second time now that we've seen a Pharah battle here on Eichenwald for Point A.
And unfortunately, yesterday for Orglis in Hungary, it seemed like Visility needed a little bit of time to really wake up and come into his own on that particular hero, and overall Unfixed just being consistent overall meant that they did manage to find the opening for that first map win, but we'll see if they can recreate that success as so far. Again, mirroring both compositions on both sides. It's going to be them diving in now. Squid looking for an opening. Doesn't find any target just yet. Evoke going extremely low. Next desuited though will be a good opportunity here for the likes of CIS Hope to hold on strong, but Sharp answers with a kill onto Sharik, but that seems to be the only thing they get as Unfix picks up a quick double.
It started off really nice. Graceful had a couple of beautiful direct hits onto Sharik, but you know, backing into that fight again, it basically just allowed them to take that free kill. But as soon as they got it, Decon and Evokia were just under way too much pressure. As soon as you lose two more, that now it's a 4v5, you lose that advantage. You come away with the tick, so not all lost there, but now have another opportunity to jump back in, and certainly looking at Sharp here to make some big plays. He made a lot yesterday, but trying to deal with Kenzie, who is known to try to, take those duels, likes taking those, whereas Sharp is very known to just jump into the backline. He throws the pulse bomb out, but it gets eaten up. Another D.Va just getting those bombs gobbled up.
Once more, but Aang does have the Valkyrie already built up if need be. Zhao picks up a return kill onto Sharp, so both Tracers not online on both ends. It means that Veinless is actually going to go ahead, be the first one to use Valkyrie and disengage, and now as a result Sharp is gonna go down again. Main picking up that kill, will have his Transcendence ready to go. He's gonna be able to find another point. Graceful tries to get the best out of Unfix, gets the kill through the Rocket Brush, not going down himself somehow, and now with the Resurrects coming through, Decon is still gonna find another one onto Main, but only one tick achieved still as Aang is gonna catch Veinless off in that Mercy v Mercy duel, which we've seen prior in the tournament already. But Kenzie going down again does mean that Angus gonna bring him back up. It's gonna hunt the Lucio down as well. But overall, kills are finally online here for Squid as they will manage to close it out and get that payload. But very outdrawn fight.
It's often, of course, that you see an air battle. Typically, though, you see the rocket fights, but not often do you see the little DBZ battle in the sky with the Mercies, both Val. Usually, Vayne gets the better end of those, but this time coming away with a loss. Still, though, his team rallies. Graceful still pressuring out despite not having a Mercy as backup. Lands that big shot onto Unfixed and gets the advantage. So now the defense reeling to try to regain some momentum here. Unfixed trying to take Graceful out of the sky. Somehow gets away from that self-destruct that came from Next, and this is a little bit of some cleanup action here from CIS Hope. Now it's going to be a little bit of a fight as well between Kenzie and Sharp. Kenzie not getting the better half of this right now, but Sharp forced to pull away. CIS Hope still getting a very aggressive defense hold here under the arches. This can really stop an attack for some time. It's just hard to get the angles that you need to get out of there.
And we've seen especially Squid be the aggressor when it comes to those defensive holds, and now maybe taking a page out of their book. Seems like it's working out really well here for CIS Hope, but they're still gonna look for those targets. We'll see Unfix go extremely low, but Zhao gets the best out of Sharp. One member down is gonna make things also difficult for Squid to continue this push, and now that they do have both support ultimates ready to go, they should find an opening coming into this next team fight.
Seeing Veinless as well with a Valkyrie, and potentially, I'm really hoping for another of those Mercy battles. That's where things get really exciting with the Mercy, for me at least. I just like seeing them pull the pistols out and go for each other. But Valkyrie now going to be popped by Veinless as Next falls out of the mech. He's not going to be able to keep Decon up unless we do see a Transcendence a Sound Barrier come out. They're holding on to it, but Evokia goes down before he can even pop that. It's still looking like the defense is going to get the better end of things here. Next, falling out of the mech, coming back into it now finally as Graceful holding onto this barrage. And I don't think he's going to want to pop it just yet. Unfixed, just keeping an eye on him, making sure that if he does pop... Oh, what a direct shot from Graceful there!
And that could be the opening pick they needed. And with the sound barrier, they're going to look to secure this one. But the Prime Rage coming out of the likes of Sharik is going to look to return fire, especially with Sharp now, though. Taking down Maiden. Kenzie answers with a Pulse Bomb. Gets both Decod and Voke. And with that, single-handedly coming out of Kenzie, should be able to stop the push happening once again here for Squid. And it's so much time being wasted away. 1 minute and 35 seconds remaining, and Unfixed now is going to make the swap to Soldier. And what do you think of this one, Hirix?
I mean, he was holding quite well on the fair. I imagine just wanted to get back into the fight rather quickly and just completely nullify Graceful, I suppose. You could do that with the McCree as well, but you know, obviously he wants to have a little bit of self-reliability with that heal as well. So he's going to go to the Soldier, and he's going to stick to it. Shark falls here, and we don't see Aang with the ability to get these reses off. He's going to get one, but he's still going to get very low in the moment. And now he's going to pull away. They're going to take him down. The attacking team with a huge opportunity to take advantage of the situation. We do see, of course, Evokia. He had swapped over to that Zenyatta. That's going to allow them to take these tanks down to a much faster degree. And it worked out a lot for them. They just held up those ultimates. The Barrage, of course, getting some work done from Graceful. And now we're seeing them come away with Veinless on that Valkyrie. And that's going to be huge because now with Unfixed, of course, on this Soldier, they can back him up. So he's not going to have a lot of room to work with backed up into a corner here.
And even if we see the Transcendence being pulled out by main, Decod could potentially displace him and even get an environmental kill off with the primary. Jason's just going to do just so. Look for the opposition right now, pushing them away, holding them back, will be kept alive, but Avoki is going to go down. Zhao on a man on a mission there, as he will be able to find that Zenyatta once again. And now Kenzie looking for another target, will not really manage to do anything with a Pulse Bomb, but doesn't seem to matter as kills overall still happening on both sides. Unfixed goes down again. Avoki finds main, but isn't going to be enough as the rest of the tank line here for the defensive side is still picking out kills. Unfixed having his tac visor is going to clean up house, and it is going to be CIS Hope holding for now.
I really like what Unfixed was able to do there on the Soldier. He was just back in that mega room, really kind of handling the Winston, and I think that's a big job for him, especially in close quarters like that when the barrier is down. Being able to deal with Decod's Winston like that after the Primal Rage goes down, that's huge because he finds that kill, and then he pulls Sharp out of the fight as well. So now you're talking about your team having a 4v4 fight because he pulled the Mercy back over to him to allow some assistance. Obviously, he didn't take that as a 1v2, but you know, by having a 4v4 over there, the Mercy going back and forth, they pull out the Tracer, they pull out the Winston. All of a sudden, you don't have that significant amount of damage towards the back line. You don't have, you know, that control that you want because the Diva's out there alone. She can't protect herself from the back. So, you know, in the meantime, Kenzie around the side is just putting in work. So that really worked out well for them, especially as Unfixed got picked back up because the Mercy lived. And then he was able to unleash the attack visor. It was perfect. It was beautifully executed there on defense. And so far, CIS Hope looking phenomenal, again, as every day we've seen them.
And unfortunately for Sharp here, we've seen him in the past able to do so much on that backline, not really managing to find too many kills or as much success as his counterpart in Kenzie. So far on Eichenwald, main seemingly finding those kills time and time again. I think he got 2 or 3 solo kills that previous round, so making it really difficult here for Squid, as they will be swapping over sides, this time on defense. However, same composition once again. And if you are CIS Hope, so far they're going to try and do something a little bit different. Not going to have that Ferris for now. At the very least, of course, they could still swap it out as Unfixed. Will be on that McCree. Is going to make things difficult for Graceful potentially, but really interesting if he's going to stick with it.
Yeah, this pillar in the middle where you see Graceful, you know, he's just looking at it now. It's very easy for a Ferret to use this environmental positioning, or this environment here to position himself, rather. And it's nice to be able to just go around it. You can hug it very close, and it's hard for the McCree to get an angle then. But when you get back into this house where Kenzie can just expect your movement and then takes the kill, not only that, but also finds the punishment onto the Mercy, who got the res, tried the res, got it, but now he's going to go over to Sharp. Again, Kenzie really likes trying to put pressure onto Sharp. And we will see Decod getting low, see if he can find the melee kill, and He will indeed, as Chow actually found that damage. Look at everybody from the defensive side of things just so low. They're going to be cleaning things up completely. And Unfixed on this McCree, all he really had to do was just back Graceful up, and it was perfectly executed by Kenzie to get back around to the side and put pressure on that house where they fell back.
Especially since Kenzie noticing the fact that, okay, they're most likely going to go for the Resurrect, punishes us in spades, and now that we're looking at a very successful push with 5 minutes and 20 seconds remaining, potentially could be huge, especially since Kenzie picks up Veinless again, this time with a pulse bomb, and Zhao finding a gun to Decod should be able to continue this one, as the team fight win will definitely go over here for CIS Hope. Rest of the team for Squid resetting for now, and with a lot of ultimates to back it up, CIS Hope looking very strong now. Even with Graceful swapping over to the Genji, still going to be extremely difficult to hit for him, and main, since he did go for that Zenyatta from the get-go, could be stronger overall. But now Decod getting a kill onto Unfixed. One gets answered there onto Sharp, but it's a 5v5 for now.
Well, Kenzie just took out Evokia. He doesn't have any protection in the backline here because they're forced to get so aggressive to try to get onto the payload and stop time here a little bit. Evokia was just left behind, doesn't have that movement as well. Now we're seeing Mercy under fire, trying to come into this castle. Oh, I think he juked him out a little bit. Kenzie gonna lose there to Sharp, who comes over with some support from the Mercy of Veinless. Graceful trying to stay alive against this Winston, somehow sneaks away. Gonna get some healing now as well, but coming away with the blade, that's gonna be big here because Unfixed has the Deadeye, and if we do see Graceful get aggressive, we'll have to see if he comes away with a deflect or what. And somehow Unfixed with a flashbang to the face of Sharp brings him down. Graceful now holding out, trying to see if he can buy time for the blade. Does get it. Deflect comes out very early on to try to prevent some of that damage. That's a big opening there for the McCree to find that kill. Now looking for the Tracer kill to follow up. And Decod way far ahead now with not a lot of help there left for him. CIS Hope again with another team fight victory. It seems like right now they've got to be up above 80% team fight win rates.
And oh man, that is so good for them, because now that they're getting also close to that objective, we will see Evoke go an early Transcendence, trying to just rush onto the point, make sure the rest of his team is gonna be there. But Primal Rage is the answer. Coming out, Shuriken gets next, shuts him down, and with Zhao finding Veinless in that team fight, it should be clean up here for CIS Hope as they look to start it out strong with a win on Eichenwald once again for them.
And it seems like everything is going their way, isn't it? I mean, you look at all of the matchups so far, you know, tank versus tank, DPS versus DPS, it's looked very good for them. There's been a couple of moments, obviously, where Squid has looked good, but overall, it's been on all fronts CIS Hope. Even the Valkyrie battle between Aang and Veinless went the way of Aang, so that's huge.
But as we all know, Squid, you can't really count them out just yet. But we will be right back after these commercials. Don't go anywhere.
Yet another great display of skill by CIS Hope. They were looking very superior in this matchup. For me, the MVP was Kenzie. I don't think we gave him enough credit even in the previous matches. Even with the Widow, now with the Tracer, he got some decisive kills which actually allowed his team to win the fight so convincingly.
Of course, it's not without the support of the rest of his team. He just really did an exceptional job when it comes to cleaning up those kills once they got lower HP. So overall, really well done. Coming out ahead when it comes to the pulse bomb battles as well, just managing to stick the opposing Mercy, I believe, twice at the very least in that match. So really impressive stuff overall.
I also like the composition of CI's Hope on attack. They took McCree on unfixed, and it did get some important kills on the attack, which allowed them to basically finish them up. Now coming up next, it's Horizon. Squid has already played it. They lost against Orgles and Hungary, and now they have to win this map if they wanna be being comeback kings, so to say.
And the problem for them is they lost it in a big fashion. They really didn't look good at all when it comes to Horizon Lunar Colony. And okay, we haven't seen CIS Hope on this particular map as of yet, but considering the fact that they're looking like one of the strongest teams in general, not only when it comes to those quad tank compositions, which we all seen how strong they can be on that first point, it's going to be a really interesting one because I want to see what they're going to bring out.
Horizon is ready. Just for you, Heurix. Casters, take it away.
Hey, there it is, there it is. And now we're going over to Horizon Lunar Colony, as you just said, and as you guys were talking about on the desk, I mean, so far it's been all Hanamura for Squid, and they are not getting the luck of the draw this time around. I mean, they do have the opportunity, but they're up against what is looking like the strongest team in Group B at the moment. So I don't know what their chances are. I would say kind of minimal right now at best, kind of. I mean, just like I said, even if we just go off of Eichenwald, it's looking like on all fronts, it's all CIS Hope. They're just really getting the better end of things, but they're going to attack here, and they're going to go with a Sombra strat. Unfixed on that Sombra, going to be going around that left side, I have to imagine, along with that Tracer, just to get Kenzie into position where he can really start putting some pressure in after he gets that main pack hacked out. They're going to be holding out onto the point as well, and that's going to be exactly what we're going to see here. The Tracer over here already. So they're already in position.
And he's already at 67% towards that EMP, doing a way better job compared to what some of the other teams have done in Group A with the Sombra strat. But Decod picking up the first kill onto Sharik because it's going to be pretty big. No mercy on the side of CIS Hope means that, okay, if they lose one member, they're going to be down and out for the remainder of the team fight until they run back all the way from spawn. But what we've also seen in the past is if the Sombra hacks those side packs, it really opens up a lot of possibilities here, especially for Kenzie on that Tracer, who can just go back and forth when it comes to poking the opposition, get back in, get some HP, and really just help Unfix, in this case, charge up that EMP that much quicker.
Well, now that everybody's getting back into position, they're not losing anybody or shouldn't lose anybody. Chao is pushing everybody up underneath. If they get into that point there, I think this will be huge for them. They already have that EMP that they've been waiting on. EMP does come out. Unfixed does manage to slip away before dying off. And now it's going to be up to this Coalescence. Can they put enough pressure now onto them while they're just getting that free cap? Decod now taking a lot of pressure as well. He's at about 1/3. And they're cleaning things up just a little bit as Unfixed trying to get that EMP one more time. Still, though, Graceful Unleash at the moment. The Riptire didn't really find anything as it got killed off, but they're still getting control on the point. 2 ticks capped now for the offense. CIS Hope come away with something, but not everything that they wanted here. Sharp doing a fantastic job so far in this Widowmaker, finding these kills, slowing down the pace of these engagements long enough for Graceful to really kind of suppress that front line.
Seems like not really finding too much in terms of success here for CIS Hope. They're going to look to re-engage once they have that second EMP good to go. I would expect him to rush back towards underneath that point, but now with the supercharger coming out of Decod, we'll look to fight this particular engage, but Sharp getting the best out of Kenzie again. It's gonna potentially shut this push and delay things once more, but at the very least, CIS Hope will look to contest that high ground, push the opposing Widowmaker away, but Decod picking up Sharik is just gonna make things that much more difficult, and with 1 minute and 25 seconds left on the clock here, Heurix, things are looking really good for Squid.
What is essentially an anti-dive pick comp is just working out so well for them. Again, every time we see Sherrick and out trying to get in there, get active, try to get involved with these fights. Graceful, Decod, Nex, Evokia, they're all there just to land burst damage into Sharik's and Chao's face. If they don't have a lot of, perfect placement on the barrier or even like a lot of time left on that defense matrix, it's really rough for them to get anything done. That pressure that comes out for the Junkrat alone with the discords is just so much to deal with. Now barrier already down for Shark. He's going to try to get back up there, but they have to wait 8 seconds to try to get that one out. And I imagine he wants to get it out before they do pop out the ultimate from him, Primal Rage. But again, Sharp with a huge kill to start things off. They have another shot here.
Yeah, but Zhao picking up the very crucial kill onto Veinless, dying with that Valkyrie up and available means that this is their time to strike. Kenzie takes down Graceful, which is another big pick. Even Decod somehow managed to stay alive, but not long enough, means that he will be pushed back. And eventually, it will be CIS Hope picking up this one in the end, but things are looking really grim. However, Unfixed finding that EMP onto Veinless alongside the rest of his team made sure that they did get the shutdown on him. And while this does net them the point, it does still mean that Veinless still has that particular ultimate available coming into this next one. And we will see Unfix swap over to the Soldier. Gonna look to contest Graceful, but himself now pulling out the Reptar is gonna delay things even further. And with 3 minutes and 45 seconds remaining, things are potentially not gonna be looking too great for them unless they can snowball these ultimates like Eng with that sound barrier.
Well, Graceful going to make a swap himself over to the Soldier. A lot of pressure coming out initially as Decod tries to make some space and does a good job at that for sure as they find the kill not only to Kenzie but also D-Mech Chow. That's going to open up the possibility to take out Shark, but he's going to Primal Rage, get right into the back line, looking very active right now to try to throw everybody around. Unfixed wasn't dealt with when we saw the Winston jumping up there, so he's just going off right now on the high ground. Nobody's looking to deal with him. Decod even is going onto the point, drops the barrier, won't be able to contest this high ground again, but he does still jump up there and now does find the kill somehow right after Veinless gets that double res that we see all the time from this squad. Graceful staying alive just long enough. They deny that first hit cap. That's huge for Squid here.
At the very least, though, the small advantage CIS Hope did get out of that fight is the fact that Veinless doesn't have the Valkyrie good to go anymore and can make the swap himself over to the Mercy. So maybe overall, in the end, it might be better off for CIS Hope. Of course, now that we will see even Kenzie make another swap over, this time around to Widowmaker, just look to shut down Graceful. And what's your take on this decision here, Hirix?
Well, I mean, they got denied by a Widowmaker before, but now they're going to be looking to try to make some picks, give themselves an advantage so they can start snowballing on the point. They need that control, and as long as Graceful is back there, or as long as these supports are alive, it's not going to be possible for them to get in there and do anything because they've just been stifled every time.
And Graceful here, a zoning ultimate coming in for the side of Squid. Will not have it going into this next team fight, but seems like they're still able to hold for now. With 1 minute and 50 seconds left on the timer, we will have to see potentially CIS Hope just rush towards that point, potentially assign 1 or 2 targets to keep Unfixed safe. But now that the counter dive coming out of Squid will look to contest that high ground, it's going to make things even more difficult. And Graceful already at 70% towards that ultimate with the swap over himself on that Genji.
I really like this so far from Squid, but we'll have to see if this does continue. Unfixed popped out that tack visor. Now Evoke's going to deny it with that Transcendence, but still Unfixed finds a kill because Shark can't make it back over. Sherrick with the Primal Rage just knocking everybody about, make it Evoke. He pulled him out of the fight initially, and then as the Transcendence fell, he found the kill as well. Now it's going to be Decod's turn as he comes around as well, but the Discord is on him. He falls. It's going to be the blade again from Graceful. Can he get anything done? He does deny. Kenzie takes him out, but that's going to be res back up. Aang finding that one and still control for the attacking team. This is another opportunity for the defense to come back in from respawn, though. We see the pulse bomb coming out. Not going to find anything from Sharp. He goes down. Next, all Also, out of his mech, he's going to fall now as well. Unfixed, popping off right now on the side with so much space to work for. Decod's Barrier not going to be long for this world as he will run out of that, will fall as well. And now it's time for the Mei. Can this get the work done that they need? They do have him going into that ice block. Now as another tac visor comes out from Unfixed, he's going to be taken pretty low here. I don't think he has the support that he needs as Aang already went down, and somehow, yet again, Squid makes the stop.
Well, graceful there, coming in with the swap over to the main. Made sure Evoke did manage to stay alive long enough so he can pop that Transcendence, and answering Unfixed's attack visor was seemingly all they needed. But now, with one more fight left in them, we'll see if CIS Hope can make something happen as they get slightly annoyed by that wall placement. We'll still potentially get an opening, but Aang going down is going to be huge. Dex gets another kill, this time onto Sharik, and with these cleanup kills, it should be in the end Squid holding off, but they're still fighting strong. Now on the point, we'll have even the Blizzard ready to go. Earthshatter Celebratory coming out of Decod there as the first run will be over, but Squid looking definitely much better on Horizon this time around.
And Graceful is somewhat of a mastermind, it seems. I mean, we were wondering before, and anybody who caught that little blunder a couple days ago at the start of Group B, we certainly got an inside peek into the question marks that we had with Graceful. Obviously, we've seen him on some of these flex tanks, which of course he's going to be on right now, as they're likely to go over to a 4-tank strat to push this in. But we've seen a couple of support picks. We know that he can play Ana. We know that he of course can play Genji, but we haven't seen too much else. I mean, sometimes have seen McCree from him. But coming into this, that was the big question mark. As flex DPS, is he going to be able to, check all these boxes, fill all these little niche picks up? And boy, has he ever. We saw him on the Soldier. He's looking fantastic on it. He popped that ult just to zone everybody out because they didn't want to walk right into an attack visor. He made the swap over to the Genji, which was smart because he wanted to be able to contest that Widow, and he contested that Widow very well. Even when he swapped over to the Mei to try to contest the point, he stayed on it. He gave himself that ability to play with verticality, put some headshots into Kenzie, backed him up as well. Really, really smart stuff. Really good play from Graceful so far. Now we're going to see him over the flex tank, and his versatility now is unquestioned as far as I'm concerned.
But look at this, Hurix. Unfixed is still on that Mei for now. We'll be looking likely for him to actually stick with it too, so somewhat of an interesting choice here when it comes to their respective composition. Of course, because in terms of their approach, CIS Hope that is, with their first point attack, they were somewhat predictable with their route, really going primarily that one particular route. But now that we will see Unfixed on that Mei, it's going to open up some really interesting possibilities for them as the round will start. Quad tank is indeed going to be the sticking choice here for this lineup of Squid, trying to rush towards the point. Will be sectioned off, and this is where the kills need to happen, and the first one will go down.
Already a big advantage here. Now they're stuck. Decod not going to be able to provide that shield, and when you're looking at trying to take this fight now, CS Hope, they just want to make it go really slow, because now when they look back, Decod needs to get involved in this again, so they can just keep bullying Decod on this Reinhardt, and that's going to be pulling everybody else out from Squid. They're going to come out into the open now to try to protect him, and they're going to take a lot of damage in the process. So this is really smart again from CIS Hope, just to slow down that pace of the engagement, wait for Decod to come back in, and just punish that positioning error that they're basically forced to make. Now another kill onto Next. We're going to be seeing Vaneless try to turn the fight around with the Coalescence, but I don't like this at all because I don't see them with any possibility of being able to turn this fight unless we see huge mistakes from CIS Hope.
And so many ultimates good to go on this lineup of CIS Hope. Shouldn't mean that they will manage to stay safe and disengage, as so far it is Evoke going down here. Man disadvantage for now when it comes to that particular engage, but Vaneless opening with another one onto Aang. Zhao going down as well next. Finding Kenzie does mean that they will be able to potentially get one tick rolling. Sharik's still alive though, and with Unfixed coming back from spawn, we'll have that Blizzard. Will be interesting to note whether or not he does go in for it. Might just go ahead and use it, but no. Sticks on that particular hero with the ultimate still alive, or rather still online. Does mean that it's going to be eventually Squid picking up the first point, and a lot of ultimates on their rather available for them too.
And we saw before how Nex can save the day. We've seen Sharp, we've seen Graceful, we even see Vaneless save the day on a Mercy, but Nex has been a huge player, a pivotal role in this roster as well on the Diva, and he made a big play there to shut down Kenzie's Widowmaker, who already has not had such a great time so far. But now we're seeing Nex losing his mech early. That's going to be the Blizzard coming out here. That's going to be an easy cleanup for CIS Hope.
And at the very least for them, they only committed that one particular ultimate for now. And again, not having a Mercy on this lineup doesn't mean that it's going to be a little bit more difficult to, in the end, have a more staying power on that point. However, Eng being on that Ana, and overall considering, again, it is a defensive side they need to have, they do have Widow's advantage in terms of the respawn. Should look overall somewhat good for them. Now with the hook going in onto Graceful, Coalescence is going to come out. Earth Shatter coming out of Decod as well. But Kenzie getting one kill off with that pulse bomb. It's going to be good. Gets another one onto Decod this time around as he'll continue to dish out so much damage. Graceful falling short as well. And with those final few kills, it will be once again CIS Hope holding out strong.
And now we're seeing some changes with that Reinhardt. I mean, they would have been able to lay everybody on the floor because there's no potential for them to block it here with Shark on the Roadhog. This is something that we saw initially in the Overwatch League, and you really like this because it allows, especially when you have that Pharah in play, for you to just kind of control the ground game. Now they're going to be holding on to this even still with the Ana as well, just to get a lot of healing out. Sherrick now trying to find a pick, looking for Vaneless. That's going to be denied again by Nex. A huge defense matrix. He's going to throw out the self-destruct now, looking for something. It's going to be a great position, but won't find a kill. Actually, will demech Chow there. And now it's up to Kenzie here and Unfixed. Can they get the kills now that they've had the space? Raj comes out. Vaneless gets away from it, but Nex's mech does not, nor does the baby diva that follows. And again, CIS Hope make the stop. They have a long ways to go, though, 4 minutes. And now they see that there was a change in that composition. Unfixed going to be switching over to the Soldier. But to see if Aang decides he wants to go over to the Mercy or if he wants to stick to the Ana. And it looks like he's going to stick to the Ana.
It's going to be interesting to note whether or not this particular pick will find more success here, as Graceful, having made the swap over to the McCree, would of course be able to really have an easier time to deal with the likes of Pharah. But once again, so far trying to set up on that high ground will be discorded time and time again. It is going to be a 1-for-1 trade, both Winstons on both sides going down. However, with Zhao being desuited, it's gonna potentially open up big things here for Squid. No front line on the side of CIS Hope will spell trouble, especially since Kenzie is gonna be the only one on the point. He will go down as well. Now finally coming out of respawn, Sharik is gonna be instantly deleted by the opposition, and it's so close. He keeps him away with the Primal Rage, and it is going to be Squid once again equalizing it on an assault map 1-1.
The Primal Rage was there, but it was actually Nex who got the boop. He's credited with the save there, and we saw him saving the day for the first point when they were trying to get away from Kenzie, who had that Widowmaker, who just, you know, was finally getting opportunity to bounce back from a disappointing Widow performance before. But Next had a great little burst damage play, then came back and was able to make a play there. But somehow we're seeing Squid bouncing back. We'll have to see if this does continue in a control map coming up next.
Seems that the Squid is back. They looked way better in this matchup, especially Orisa and Widow combo on the first point. They managed to stall it for a very long time, and I'm kind of questioning the Sombra pick. It didn't work that well in the favor of CIS Hope.
Well, they pretty much committed to it, right? And in the end, they did manage to find the point with that EMP onto Veinless, but overall, it did seem like indeed Squid really prepared for this composition to how to play around it. And of course, as you said, Kenzie playing that Widowmaker did was rather a crucial point for them. He managed to single-handedly shut down the support of the likes of CIS Hope, so definitely impressive stuff.
Next match is Nepal. The score is 1-1. Winner takes it all. What's your prediction?
I mean, so far, Squid, they've managed to turn it around 2 times. I can see them doing it a third time.
Yeah, Squid, but they have played a lot of Oasis. We haven't seen them yet on Nepal. Do you think it's a big difference?
It is going to be a difference just because also CIS Hope do have a win on the board on Nepal in particular. So it's a comforting map for them, if you will, in that regard. So if they can recreate that success, of course, Zhao, once again, if he can be huge on the Diva, will definitely be really, really difficult for Squid.
The match is ready. If you think Squid12324 can make a comeback, let me see those tentacles in the chat. Casters, take it away.
Welcome to Nepal here on the high mountains. We will have this battle determined between these two teams. Last time we saw CIS Hope on this map, they took it 2-1 against Orglist and Hungary, and of course now you have to think that maybe that gives them an edge, but they're already looking good against a good team. But Squid is known as whenever they get into a game 3 situation, they will always clutch it out, and we'll have to see if that happens yet again here. They're going to be pulling out a tank strat on this map, but Unfixed already sees that. They already expect that here because Shark is on the Roadhog. They have Unfixed in the air. I really like this composition from CIS Hope.
But on the other side, Sharp, picking up that McCree himself, is going to be able to potentially deal with Unfix in a much easier fashion, as well as Kenzie with a well-timed flashbang. So we'll see. That will indeed be the case, as so far it is going to be Squid all over the point. We'll look for the first kill and gets the first one to Sharik. Already an opening pick for them, but the return one coming out of Sharp. However, it is kill feed all in favor of Squid as they still look for targets.
And now in retrospect, I actually didn't see Sharp on this McCree because that's huge for them. Not only is he going to be able to deal with the Pharah in the sky and try to take Unfixed out of the equation, but on top of that, he's also going to be able to deal with Shark, who is on the Roadhog. When he comes over, you know, they're going to be basically forced to try to get aggressive, or rather play it slow. But if they go to get aggressive on the side of Squid, Shark can run at them, put the flashbang down. There's no way that Shark's gonna be able to live there. But now we're seeing a swap up, tank lineup now for CIS Hope, but it's a complete tank lineup. 4 tanks here instead of the 3 that we're seeing from Squid, but Sharp's still on that McCree.
And Veinless now opening up with the Coalescence, gonna keep his teammates safe, as well as dish out quite a bit of damage onto the opposition. However, somebody on the point, 4 members coming out of this lineup of CIS Hope will prompt the rest of Squid back onto a Decod, though, taking that particular kill. Main answers with 1 onto Next, and with a second one onto Sharp. And so far, it's looking better, at the very least, ever so slightly here for CIS Hope. But as I say that, the return kills are happening. Graceful and Evoke even getting bloodthirsty there on that support will manage to push the opposition away, and with an ultimate advantage still in their favor, things are not looking good for CIS Hope.
Sharp now on the Tracer. I like this a little bit better, just again adapting. They're good at this so far. Squid, I mean, that's a big reason why they've been able to make these kind of situations work for them and play in the clutch, where they just adapt quickly to things. That's exactly what has worked out for them. Graceful here, holding onto this Graviton. We'll have to see if he gets everybody in there. If it's going to be denied, it comes down. They catch everybody. They're going to go right through it. Charge comes out. Sound barrier coming out from both sides. No kills inside of it, but Decod will fall off the map.
That is unfortunate, as the next kill coming out to Next, as well as Evoke, will make things really difficult. Sharp does try to still somehow return it in their favor, of course, with those final few members going down. However, it is going to be, in the end, CSI Hope picking up the point. But the problem for them is right now, if they lose one more team fight, that's it. And they really need to be disciplined, well-disciplined when it comes to their ultimate usage. They need to make the most out of it and make sure they keep this momentum now going forward.
Oh, Veinless. Gonna be supported there by Nex. Nex again making big life-saving plays, peeling off Kinsey with that hook. But now they're coming back into it. They're already getting some progress on the point. That's gonna force everybody to come down into that low ground. They're gonna fight pretty aggressively here with that speed boost from Aang. That Earth Shatter comes down. He catches people.
And now with the self-destructive follow suit, it's not gonna find anyone. That Sharp is gonna get the best out of Zhao. And now with Decod, with the return of Shatter coming out of him as well, it's gonna be cleanup. And in the end, it will eventually be Squid picking up the point once more. And this should be it. This should already be a first map win on Nepal for them, looking very strong on these control maps.
And the denial there from Decod. He got it in the last fight, got it there as well. But impressive movement to begin with from Shark, but just not enough follow-up. Again, you got to be able to block off all these tanks, or actually, sorry, throw all these tanks down, or you're not going to be able to get anything done, or at least get one of the supports down so that you can try to find a kill there. I think what happened was, what we saw at least, was Zarya, if I'm not mistaken, was able to stay alive or stay up from the Earth Shatter and was able to get get his barrier off there to protect the target that they focused. So saved him. They got back up, and they were able to turn things back around with a huge Earth Shatter coming back from Decod. Now going to Sanctum. A little bit of different compositions here, as we're expected to see Junkrat, we're expected to see Soldier, but something we're not expecting to see, at least from me, is a single tank Winston. That's a big question mark for me personally, because he's going to be basically playing this a little bit sneaky, playing this a lot more solo, and kind of waiting now. I don't think that they're going to want to get aggressive, because both Orisa and Reinhardt are very good at dealing with a Winston more often than not. So I don't know. This is going to be very tough here for Sharik.
Zhao answered one kill onto Graceful himself as they both take each other out, but overall, it's still somewhat of an equal team fight. Kenzie trying to make the best out of this situation. Will take down Evokian with one support down. It might eventually go in favor of CIS Hope as Kenzie picks up another one. Sharp answer with a kill of his own on this single tank coming out of this lineup of CIS Hope. However, with Nex being brought back up, it should delay things a little bit further, but overall, CIS Hope getting some small advantages, should pick up the point eventually, especially with Nex now finally falling down. Graceful will still look to potentially contest with some damage with Decod coming back in from spawn, but question is for how long, as Sharik should be able to make himself back on no, not the payload, but Sharp still finding Daka will have the tac visor, and he brings it out.
So this is interesting here to see the way that they've picked their comps out. Sharp now pulling out that tac visor will find a couple of kills. They're going to be able to secure this again. It's going to flip, and in one continuous fight, we've seen it go back and forth between the two. But now looking at these compositions and looking at how we're seeing Squid play this with the Reinhardt, with the Orisa, they're obviously trying to control the point. They're trying to control this objective a lot. Now, looking back over at CIS Hope, we see this Winston, this solo Winston, and you see that they're playing with this Tracer as well. They're obviously trying to play into this. They know this composition that's coming out. Chao with a great denial of the Riptire, now going to pull one out for himself. And we'll have to see if this does find a kill onto Next. Does find a lot of damage, but he does fortify most of that away. And they're just trying to poke from multiple angles here, allow Sharik to just try to knock people around. He's going to find a kill onto Orisa. He's going to lose his life in the process. And now it's up to Unfix. Can he keep this Hope alive?
And now that we'll see the tag visor coming out of Unfix, he will look to turn things around for his team. Kenzie picking up a kill onto Vale is going to be big. Now Evoki going down as well. It's going to be CIS Hope in the end, swapping the point back in their favor. But it's really an interesting back and forth, as Aang will have the Valkyrie good to go in this next team fight. Only looking forward to Kenzie potentially shutting down an upcoming push out of this lineup of Squid, where Decod having that Earth Shatter available and only the Winston bubble to worry about is going to be really good for him potentially. But next, caught by his notes himself a little bit on a solo mission off onto the side, will go down, and that is really important here for CIS Hope, especially since Kenzie picks up a huge double pulse bomb kill there, and with that, it's going to be a few extra staggered kills on top, and CIS Hope look to equalize it 1-1.
And this is just so smart from CIS Hope. We saw some great adaptations already from Squid, but they're just playing this composition to just poke and prod and take little bits, little chunks away from Squid, especially denying Graceful's Junkrat initially, because there's nobody really applying that frontal pressure. They're not stacking up. They're just coming in from different angles, and it's tough to deal with when they just take these little chunks out. Kenzie gonna be killed off. Graceful sees him coming, and not only that, but Sharp and Graceful together with a nice little duo, a combo between the two. And now it's getting very close here. They have control of the objective. Now with this combo that you see from CIS Hope, you have to wonder if this is going to be able to be forceful enough to get their way through. Are they going to be able to brute force right into the objective, or are they going to be denied here? They're going to probably have to get something done with this Riptire. It's coming out from Chow. Let's see if he finds anything. Last time he just got a little bit of damage off onto Next. Now looking for Decod, finds the kill. Vainless going to be able to get that res more than likely, though, if he can get himself into a position to get there. Oh, he gets it! He sneaks it!
Oh, but overtime does kick in. Decod going in for the air shatter. However, we need to see the rest of the members onto the point. It's not going to happen. And as a result, it will be eventually Squid once again turning things around, pick up a win on Assault and Control to be 3-1 in the group stage of Group B here.
Wow. And a huge play again from Decod. Vainless obviously enabling that by just sneaking out a res. They were trying to deny it, but just not going to be able to find it, and he was able to get a huge earth shatter just to finish out the play. You see him sneaking it. Look, they were just waiting for it. You saw the right click being charged up there, but I believe it was main, and it was, and they just secure that fight. And there's Vainless once again looking lethal on the Mercy.
And Decod, I saw that even though the stream, I don't think catch that. He got a charge kill, beautiful one at that onto Ang, and it will be in the end Squid taking this series, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the next one.